Now, I feel like one of the most impactful things which has happened to cinema in the 2000s, it's gotta be the franchise. We had the return of Star Wars with the prequel. We had the launch of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. From 2000 to 2020, it's been the golden age of the franchise, in my opinion. Now, we have all these streaming services putting out shows for whichever franchise you like. There's a Halo show, there's Star Wars shows every few months, Marvel shows every few months, Marvel every few movies. It's all interconnected and it's focusing on putting things into a connected universe now, not making new things. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hello, everyone, and I am, I guess in this case, it would be Gabe the Person. Welcome back to the I'm Too Lazy to Edit Videos podcast. Honestly, most likely want to call it just Gabe the Podcast. So if you got any better suggestions, leave them down below. But yeah, today we're going to talk about franchises and how much longer can they go for. So really, I think the main start of the franchise has to be 2008 when Iron Man first released. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was something that no one could have predicted happening. It's basically if a comic book was on screen, you have all these different runs, which you don't need to watch all of, but all come together in team ups and share a connected universe. Now, later on, or closer to now, it feels like you gotta watch everything, but back then, you could not need to watch all the movies in Phase 1 to see the Avengers film. That was how the franchise really started, in my opinion. How it started to be a big thing. Also, at the same time, Disney is buying up everything. It's buying Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Muppets, everything. And that just keeps going on and on and on. And they're buying more and more things. That is how it all started. Now, after the Avengers came out, we got some things coming out. We got Man of Steel starting the DCEU. I haven't seen the DCEU, so forgive me. On Disney Channel, you're getting all these crossovers going on right now. The one I think of is Lab Rats and Mighty Max, Mighty Men, bit later, but there's all these other ones going on right now. We've just had Clone Wars finish being a sequel show to just Star Wars in general. It's going crazy. Now Disney has bought Star Wars. And the whole past canon of all the books has ended because they said, no, now we want to start our own canon. Make our own interconnected universe where everything, you read it, it's real. You saw it in a comic book, TV ad, whatever. No matter what it is part of the universe. They wanted to follow Marvel, where they're trying to pump out a movie a year, get some shows going on, especially now that they're planning their Disney Plus. I don't know when it was first announced, but it must have been in the plan for years. On Pixar, not much interconnectivity, but in the 2010s to 2020s in Pixar, it was weird. Although the first decade of the 2000s, that was all focused on making original films, I don't think we had a sequel there. Most of the 2010s was just sequels. They're trying to pump out things to continue their franchises. Pixar theory's running rampant right now. Not that that's official, but people want that interconnected universe, and it's crazy. Now, speaking of sequels, I feel like sequels, there's for the most time they're just for money. That's my opinion. Now, if you're planning out your whole franchise from day one, then maybe less so. Of course, you're gonna get a lot of money from making multiple movies, but like George Lucas, he didn't have episode 5 and 6 planned out when he was making episode 4. He didn't know if Star Wars was gonna do well, but once he got the money from episode 4, I don't think he just made episode 5 and 6 for the money. He made it so he can continue the story. Now, there were money motives, but I feel like so many sequels, if they're not something which feels natural, it's for the money. Bringing back a character. Okay, we're gonna go forward a bit, but Indiana Jones is a mega franchise in my opinion. I've only seen Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom, but there's like 5 movies, and there's a sixth one, Dial of Destiny or whatever, coming out. Does that franchise really need to go on for so long? Do we need 5 or 6 Indiana Jones films, a man going on an adventure, but then he's starting to face aliens and all this? Can't it just be this simple Tomb Raider type character, archaeologist? They could do a bunch of that, but they need to keep upscaling every film. And at that point, is it really worth it? The new movie, Dial of Destiny. It's this whole time travel thingy. I don't really know, but I know there's a lot of time travel involved. They're bringing back the Nazis. So, what's the point of it? And I'm sure everyone knows what the point is, so they can make a new Indiana Jones, so they can have a new series on Disney Plus sequeling it. All of that. That is the purpose of the new Indiana Jones film. Sorry. Okay, I'm better. I'm not editing this, so you're welcome for hearing me coughing. Oh my god, I'm tearing up. My dog's coming in to check on me. Yeah, Dial of Destiny, it was exclusively for the money and for the franchise. And speaking of Disney Plus series, they're in the month of December. Absolutely crazy what's going on. We had Willow beginning to stream, which I'm going to make a review of it, but not great. The Santa Clauses is going on right now. At the end of December, we got the National Treasure Show. Those are 3 shows of bringing back a past franchise that Disney owns and making a show about them. And then, January 4th, new Star Wars show. I know, for Disney Plus, you want to have shows going all the time so you can keep people subscribed forever. But, should you have 3 shows going on at the same time? And I'm sure there's other shows that aren't as nostalgia baity going on, but like, come on. And in November you got Disenchanted. October you got what's it called? The Witch series, the Witch movie. You have Hocus Pocus 2. All of those just bringing back a past thing, probably to make it a franchise. I mean, are we gonna get the Santa Claus movie about Jack Frost? I don't know. I saw them a long time ago. I don't even know what you're going to do with National Treasure because I haven't seen that. But it's like, you don't need to have sequels to things that come out 20 years ago just for the nostalgia bait. If you have a really good service, you shouldn't need to be baiting people with old franchises. I mean, look at just in 2022, there was that Halo show at the start of the year, Rings of Power, what's the other one? House of the Dragon. Who needed a new Lord of the Rings series? That's just crazy, because no one wanted it. No one was saying, yeah, I really wish they made a new Lord of the Rings series without Tolkien being involved in any way. No. I haven't seen a lot of those shows. I have Disney Plus and I have Netflix. That's all I have. That's all I really want for now. I mean, I'd like to get HBO, but main part, that's what I need. So, but with Marvel, for example, with Star Wars, those are series that are going on for a long time. We've had basically content coming out since 2008, since 2014 with Rebels. They've just been going along, making things of varying quality. I mean, the Marvel, it should have ended in 2019 with Endgame. I feel like most people can agree on that. Now, the fact that people are still watching it, that doesn't mean that it shouldn't stop going on. But I've made a promise to myself, I will not be watching every Marvel thing after Secret Wars, because that's going to be canon reset. And at that point, these aren't my characters, these aren't my stories. These are new ones. We're going to see Iron Man all over again, most likely. New Captain America. We'll have X-Men in there now because they own Fox. Fantastic Four from the start. That's not going to be my MCU. That's going to be a new MCU, and I've committed to stop watching them. With Obi-Wan Kenobi, how many people have you lost from making Star Wars and watching it anymore? From the sequels. I feel like there's coming a day where the big franchise is going to end. Look what's going on with the DCEU. With James Gunn in, he's canceling a bunch of old stories, trying to make his own universe. But at the same time, he's still greenlighting other projects outside of the universe. You have the Batman universe now, you've got all their animated stuff, you've got the Joker universe, all of these different DCE universes that can share the same continuum. I'm watching Marvel's Avengers United or Earth's Mightiest Heroes, and I really like that show. It's very different from the MCU being a lot more comic booky, but I can still appreciate that universe at the same time. With the Avatar Studios, it's very interesting. You're going to have the new canon of the live action show. That's not going to be canon. They're going to change some things. You're going to have the movies canon, which is retconning a bunch of books. You're going to have that new show, which is going to be continuing. And it's going to be like, you have all these different canons, which are based on the same thing, but aren't the same thing. And I feel like if you want your franchises to continue, that's something you might want to start considering. Now, Star Wars fans, there's a lot of them that just aren't going to watch anything because of the sequels, because of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, if you reintroduced Star Wars Legends, you have the Star Wars Visions, things that they're not canon, but they're more of what you used to enjoy. You have the old 2D Clone Wars show. You have all these different canons, part of the Star Wars expanded universe. Maybe bring that into it. Do more Star Wars Legends type thing. Maybe an anthology series based on old Star Wars expanded universe comics. Do stuff like that. Adapted to an animated show maybe. And then maybe you'll get all those old fans who hate the sequels, but these are other sequels. It's a different path. I mean, Marvel's What If. It wasn't executed perfectly, but the idea of having all these different universes is interesting, but the fact that they're all connected makes it a pain. The Marvel multiverse arc right now, it's getting complex. We're going to be getting stories taking place in other universes. Universes which aren't our own Marvel universes, the 616, or whatever you want to call it, that we know. So why are we following those stories? The fact that they're all supposed to take place at the same time, they're going to affect each other, at that point, it's pushing it. Now, with the Spider-Man and Spider-Verse universe, I really like that. I like the fact that they're going to take all these past Spider-Man and put them all together. But you shouldn't need to watch it. I feel like that's the problem of the franchise. If you need to do homework, to watch a movie, to watch a series, at that point, that's where you maybe need to stop. And the fact that it's so interconnected, that Multiverse of Madness, you needed to see WandaVision if you want to understand the film about Doctor Strange. That's too much. That shouldn't need to happen. You should be able to watch what you want and not be necessarily confused. You might not know everything. You might not understand why an Endgame Sam said on your left, but you can still enjoy the movie. If you can't understand that, and it's important to the movie, that's where it's a problem. I feel like how franchises are going to go from here on out is you might still keep your IP and make a bunch of projects on it. But, what you need to do is to not say that everything is happening in the same universe. Now, at first that's going to make your fans angry, in my opinion, because I'm going to watch this and it's not canon, but that's the thing. You don't need to watch it. You can watch this, She-Hulk, for example. People hate She-Hulk, and it kind of ruins my She-Hulk and Thor: Love and Thunder. Both Marvel projects that came out in 2022, which are overly comedic. If those didn't take place in the MCU, I might have liked them a bit more. But the fact that these projects exist in the same universe as films like Avengers Infinity War, Megan Thee Stallion was off filming TikToks or whatever while Thanos was attacking, that makes me angry. I feel like a lot of things with these shared universes, now that there's so many things, it's falling apart. Marvel Phase 4, people say it doesn't have a theme, but what I don't like about it more is that the continuity is starting to fall apart. It's not making sense. You have all these multiverse ideas which clash between different films. What time travel and multiverse is in Endgame is not the same thing which we're seeing in Loki. If those were different things, different universes, I would be fine. But the fact that you're trying to tell us it's a shared universe, you gotta watch everything, and then have them contradict each other, that's where the problem is. That's why different universes, same IP, might get very interesting. Star Wars, for example, how they can do it. Either just do Legends, nope, this isn't anything. There's the main Star Wars universe, and then there's this not Star Wars inspired universe with visions and all that. You can do that, but you can also do it in World Between Worlds, where it's like, yeah, this is another route of how the Star Wars could have played out with the Heir to the Empire story. That's another sequel. There are a lot of ways you can do this, but I feel like if you want to continue making all your franchises having these mega stories, you want to turn everything into a franchise, you can't. You can turn it into a household name, a thing which has a bunch of different versions. But when you turn it into a mega franchise, a shared universe, that's the problem. The fact that everything is interconnected, everything is necessary, it's not going to work. Think about it this way. For me, on a school night, I can watch in between 1 to 2 hours of television normally. Not that I need to, just that's what I can take. I like to go to bed at 9, wake up at 6, only watch TV in the afternoon. So, if all I'm watching is episode by episode, Disney shows on Disney Plus, because that's all I have. So, every week, they drop their series on Wednesday, right? Okay, so 3 shows going on at the same time, possibly 4. Let's say we start at the end of November. What's going on then? Andor just ended, but during that, I think another show was airing. She-Hulk might have overlapped a bit. I don't remember. But, okay, yeah. Andor just ended. Willow's dropping. In between those 2 shows, we had the Santa Claus, and at the end of Willow, we're getting the National Treasure. I don't know how long Willow is. But Bad Batch will also be overlapping at the very least by 1 week. And at the end of January, we have Secret Invasion. That means okay, let's talk about January. Willow's going on, National Treasure, Bad Batch, and Secret Invasion. I doubt they're all going to overlap, but let's just throw this as a theoretical. That means 4 out of the 7 days of the week, since I'm only watching 1 episode of a thing a night, let's say, 4 out of the 7 days, I'm just watching new content. On the weekend, I normally like to watch at least 1 movie, so that means I have 2 free days to watch past content. Think about how crazy that is. That's keeping me hostage on your streaming service because you're introducing all this new content. How am I going to be able to stomach it after time? That I'm watching 4 or 5 shows at the same time. I can hardly handle at some points watching 2 or 3 shows at the same time. So you're trying to tell me that I'm going to be watching 5 shows at the same time? I'm going to lose interest, and because of that, I'm probably going to lose interest in part of your franchise. Because they're so interconnected, I don't want to watch this, and since I don't watch that, I can't watch this. I'm going to lose interest. So, by having the different canon, by having things which aren't necessary, even just the fact that I don't need to watch this to watch this, the fact that even though it's a shared universe, that I don't need to watch everything, that can help. But if you need to watch everything to enjoy a movie, a film, a series, and a franchise, that's too much, because the fact that we're having 4 or 5 franchises going on at the same time, We had She-Hulk going on at the same time as Rings of Power and House of the Dragon and other shows probably on television. That's when it gets too much. When we have all these things, specifically from the same streaming service, I mean, that was HBO, that's Amazon, and Disney Plus. If they're all going on at the same time, fine enough. But when you have 3 things, 4 things streaming at the same time on your own service, it's going to be too much. Now, although it's not, you might be saying, oh, more content is better than less. No, it is not, because if you can't enjoy the content outside of what's coming out right now, then it's losing its value. You should be saying, I'm excited for this to come out, instead of, I need to watch this so I can watch this. That doesn't get people excited, that gets people frustrated. So, to wrap this up, I feel like the modern franchise of everything connects to everything, shows springboarding other shows, yeah, we could talk about that with Star Wars, how everything needs to be springboarding to another show, The age of continuity, I feel like that's going to end soon. And when that happens, there's 2 ways it can go. Either we get new franchises, just completely new stories. We go back to the 1980s, 70s, 90s, where you get your one-offs all the time. We can have that. Or we can have these kind of connected franchises where they share the same IP, but not the same universe. What they're going with DC, with Avatar, what used to happen with Star Wars. I think we're going to go back to that, and I feel like that's the best way to go forward. So, anyways, I hope you liked listening to my ranting about canon and continuity and how much content there is to consume. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm going to put this out a few hours after I film it. So, see you in a little. Happy New Year's Eve. And stay tuned tomorrow to the same channel so I can make a video about my channel update. Stay tuned for that. I have a lot to talk about there. So, thanks for watching. And until the next one, bye. And make sure to tune in. I think it's going to be every 2 weeks for Gabe the Podcast. Bye.